I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is All the Mods 10. So more All the Mods 10, and I tell you what, my brain has been descending slowly but surely into madness because I am needing to think ahead if I want to, well, make more than just one All the Mods star. Now, I do want to get into the Roots Classic today and be able to make myself a crystal staff. This shouldn't be too difficult to do, and we can use this crystal staff to make us a kind of pseudo block accelerator, which is kind of nice, and we can accelerate entities with it. But if I take a look deeper into all of these items required here, I start to see and notice the need for very specific items. For example, we need tons of gold, we need tons of redstone, and we need 1.7 million nether stars to technically make 18 stars. So there's still a lot of prep work left to do that we're going to have to kind of figure out solutions to these problems for. But I think instead of destroying my brain like I have been the last few hours as I've been staring at all of these recipes, I think we should take some time and possibly just play around with the Roots mod here and try our best to make a crystal staff. Now, Roots is honestly a very, very small mod, but it does have a lot of things that it can technically do. This is basically all of the items that exist within this mod. Now, one of the first things you're probably going to want to make is a runic tablet, because this has some information on it that is going to be kind of important here. When you right click, there's some really cool little things here, but we're going to be doing plant magic essentially. Now, the main thing we are going after is just making this crystal staff, which means we need to follow kind of what this guide lays out for making this thing. And in JEI, we can see the recipe right here underneath this ritual. Now, this is something we're going to have to keep in mind, and it even shows us an image here kind of what we are going to need to even make this. And also all of the individual ingredients that are going to be required. Now, if you farmed any in this pack, you may have gotten yourself some verdant sprig and or other roots materials. For example, you may have gotten old roots, or if you were breaking down the coarse fruit in the end, you probably got dragon's eyes. All of those are things that we will need at some point if you are going to make certain things within this mod. Also, all of the drops that drop from the trees, this is all coming from the roots, like all of these little bitty berries, essentially. So how do we even set this up? I think right off the bat, we just need to make a casting altar. So this is what's going to get us started. I'll just go ahead and I'm going to use this area right out here for all of my ritual stuff. It should fit just fine. Now, something that we'll notice, these are items that go into the main sort of pillar here, but what it doesn't show is the incense altar. Now, it does mention it in the book, but the incense brazier is what we need to go around, and those items technically need to be burned that are listed right here where there's a little flame icon, right? So these all need to be burned, and there are specific ways that we have to get this bark, for example. Yeah, we have to use a bark knife. And no, that's not a dog with a knife. That's just you. But now that I have the bark knife, I'm going to need to use this by right-clicking it on the acacia logs, just like so. And in this process, yeah, I'm stripping the log, but also getting some of that bark, just like this. Now, honestly, everything else in this process is very, very straightforward. We need to make ourselves mundane standing stones. Mundane standing stones are going to be on the outer side. And if we take a look at the recipe here, we can see we need 8 of them that need to surround, and they need to be 2 blocks out in all directions. And this is like our first like major setup here. So there's 8 of them. We go 1, 2 and place them out. And it's going to be 2 in all directions, just like so, until we have 8 of them surrounding this. And here's where it gets a little bit more confusing, because you're like, what are these things on the outside? Well, they're actually attuned standing stones. So we have to make the ones that are slightly bigger. Looks like we need nether bricks. Might as well make a few of those. I think I have an auto crafting recipe for them. There we go. And yeah, we only need 4 of these. So a little bit of roots here. Let's get 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nice. All right. And let's see, how far out does this need to go? Looks like just 1 block. So 1 block out, and then bam, we place those bigger ones. And we're already almost done, essentially. Like, this is all we really need. Now we just gotta, well, make sure we have all of this, right, ready to go. We need diamonds, sticks, and blaze powder, and that's basically it, right? So now with all of those base items, let's go ahead and place them in the incense braziers, just like that. And we should be able to light them. And you can see brazier is now burning once we've got them lit up. And then we just put the items. I don't think it even matters what order these go in, but I'm going to put them in order. So diamond, stick, and blaze. And that should be everything needed technically to set this off, I think. Unless I'm missing something. Nope, I'm not missing anything. You just have to have an empty hand and shift right click to start this working. And there we go. This is what it looks like when it's doing the craft. And we're going to have to do this, I guess, 18 times, because if we want 18 of these staves, that's something we're going to have to do. So I think I can continue using this if I just like do this. I will have to reignite the braziers. And I do need to make sure the items are in them to actually light them. Okay. Wonder though if this is another situation where I can tick accelerate the actual crafting process. Ooh, and I can. Okay, so that way I can save on base ingredients? No, it still consumes, I think, the brazier ingredients. Yeah. Okay, you can extinguish these by shift right clicking, by the way. Now, I will say out of all of the processes that I have technically done so far, this is by far one of the most boring ones, just simply because we're making a staff that really has no use, considering it has no potency, it like has no effects on it essentially. But this is the wand that we could use to technically like accelerate time. You do need to do a little bit more crafting into the roots mod, but it's actually really easy to get this thing. Now, a little tip, it does look like the burners actually do stay lit. So what you could do is like stand on top and just place all of these individual ingredients in. And then it just makes it easier without needing to relight everything over and over again. Yeah, you can just simply do this and make sure that item gets pulled out and so on and so forth. And I believe this is the 18th wand. Actually, it should be more than that. I should have 19. Yes, because one of these wands I actually want to put to good use. So the wand is honestly just a tool, but we can assign this and kind of make it like a unlimited use time wand essentially. So now how do I go about actually making this acceleration staff? This is probably what you want to know. Well, first of all, you need to find the actual spell powder that we are going to need for this. It's going to require an oxide daisy in stone and also gold and sugar. But there's some other modifiers that we can apply here. For example, glowstone or redstone or gunpowder can change like the size, it can change the efficiency, or change the potency of individual spell types. There's just something to note whenever we use this mortar over here to mix the oxide daisy with all of the other components. Now, if you're having problems finding oxide daisies, just remember that the Bumble Zone is a really great place to find a ton of flowers. Now, let's try to put all of these together. Whenever I put in what it actually shows and I click, it'll say that rare material mix-in is missing. So I think this is looking for like this root, for example, right here. And then I can also apply like some redstone. And I think the higher the tier root, the better effects we'll have. I do think the idea of using redstone dust on this to kind of make it more efficient to use is a good idea. So I have 3 different modifiers in here. I don't think I can use glowstone on top of all of that. No, you kind of get 3 choices there. And then once we have it, we can use a pestle in our mortar. And whenever we click, we can now see we have 3 efficiency on this spell. And we can make more of these, of course, but that should be about it. And I think we don't even need anything crazy here. We just right click this and our spell powder on here and a verdant sprig along with this. And I think that if we shift right click, oh, it doesn't seem to be forming. There may be some other steps required. This is where I find this mod to be really confusing sometimes if you like haven't played with it in a while. Because the descriptions of how things work are all categorized in here. It's not your typical kind of book that you would use. It's kind of very reminiscent of old school. But figuring out how this actually is combined, I mean, if you look here, it just says the crystal imbue, and it just shows these right here on this and nothing else. I wonder if this is essentially needing me to put the spell powder in the brazier and then have that going. Ah, yes. Okay. So it didn't really show that or explain that very well in the book, but this is how we have to do it. So this should take that, and you can do up to 4, I do believe, different spells. But perfect. So now we have a crystal staff, and I believe you can shift right click, and whenever you shift right click, it'll cycle through all the spells. But right now we have acceleration, and I think the best way to show this off is with a furnace. And it's supposed to, by default, accelerate it by 3 times the speed. So we can place this down, grab some coal and some iron, just like that. And just kind of see what this looks like as far as acceleration goes. If I use this by just right-clicking, I think, or we hold and then right-click, we can see the icon up in the top. It's going significantly faster. Yeah, and that's kind of how this works. The efficiency should allow me to use it more often and just keep using it. So yeah, it's a 3 times acceleration. I don't think it stacks on the acceleration. Maybe it does, actually. Oh, it does stack, because that is going significantly faster. Oh boy, that efficiency is really nice for that. So yeah, we can keep accelerating this over and over again. But yeah, that's primarily one of the main uses for this. I'm assuming it might also work on the bees. Yep, it definitely does work on the bees. Just like this. It also works on entities too, by the way. So that's another thing. Like if you have a couple of chickens, see if I can get a couple of chickens. Don't know if these with no AI will breed, but seeds here, if I get them close enough, they might. Let's see. We can actually tick accelerate them. Okay. So it says right here, next egg in 6 minutes. This would be a good indicator of how this works. If I accelerate this, we'll actually see that timer increase and start going faster. And that's because this also works on accelerating entities. So if an entity has a time, this will actually speed it up. So yeah, this Roots wand is kind of cool, but it would have been really cool to have seen it like with a particular type on it. That would be kind of neat, but it doesn't really matter. We have all of our staffs now done from the Roots mod. But you know, since I have this up, I've never actually made the Roots armor, which I know has some really nice stuff on it, but I've never actually seen what it looks like to wear. And all of the stuff that's required is relatively easy for us to obtain. So you know what? And we already have the setup for it. So might as well try to craft up also the full set of gear. I mean, if anything, it'll go in my gear showcase room, or I might end up just wearing it cosmetically. And you know what? There's actually 2 sets of gears, so I'm kind of wanting to make all of them technically. So I guess I can go ahead and start off by making the first set of gear, which is going to be the Sylvian hood. So it looks like this just needs all of those items placed in, which is going to be the birch bark, golden apples, and then we're gonna need vines and diamonds. Not iron hood, let's take that off. It is a leather hood in this set. So leather, we're gonna do some diamonds here. Let's see, and also vines. All of these need to be lit. Making sure that's lit, and I think the rituals should stand. And there it goes. Okay, so this is all we have to do to get the actual gear set up. I do notice there's like flashing lights on the top of these standing stones. Oh, but perfect. Okay, I'm kind of curious. What does the models actually look like for this gear? Oh, it does actually have custom models. That's neat. See, I've never taken the time to actually make this gear, so actually seeing it for the first time is pretty cool. So nice. The Sylvian gear is fully, I think I'm saying that right. The Sylvian gear, yes. And this is what it looks like when the entire set is complete. We're the flower. Oh, we have flowers on our chest. Oh man, do we have a raised chest? Man, we did not miss Peck Day. That is for sure. Oh man, it is kind of dress-like though, I will say, but I kind of dig it. Now this other set I'm really interested in. This is like an oak set and looks really cool looking. At least the icons do. And this is for the wildwood. To make this, it's a little bit more expensive, needing iron, but everything else seems the same. We need wheat and saplings though that are burnt, oak bark, and also oak planks. Like pretty straightforward. Now I really wish the book gave you kind of a description of what this particular armor does. The druid robe. So this is kind of like a robe, right? But this one doesn't tell me. However, It does look like the wildwood does tell you, and this is pretty cool. It gives you like in between iron and diamond armor levels. It also has auto repairing, and it increases our natural regeneration even when you don't have food. That is kind of powerful in its own right. But you know, I just like turning the game into a fashion show. So you know what? This works out for me in the long run. And just in case you were wondering, yeah, it has the exact same crafting process, just slightly different colors. And okay, yeah, this is actually really cool. Like, look at that helmet. All right, so with all of them crafting, it's now the moment of truth. Let's put all of this gear on. Oh, that right there. It is wonderful. Okay, what's it look like if we like take off the helmet? Like, you know, even then, I feel like I've got thorns sticking out of me everywhere. This is still a very interesting armor set, none the least, right? That is really cool. And it's going to make a great addition to my armor stands over here. So I have all kinds of different armor stands. I think I have like armor stands that, yeah, need to be changed, like over here, for example. And yeah, I can go ahead and fit this right on in. So let's take a look here. Boots. And this looks really good on the armor stands. Yeah, because I'm kind of like making like an armor area down on the bottom section here. Man, this just reminds me of a koala. I feel like that's what I'm thinking it looks like. It makes me look kind of like a koala. But man, this right here is essentially roots. I would consider this definitely an earlier game mod. And the main reason I even dabbled in it at all throughout the end of this series here is essentially because it is required for the star, which I guess is kind of the purpose of the star, right? To get you into mods that you may not typically even play around with inside of the mod pack. So there we go. This is the Roots mod, and I now have all of the staffs needed to technically complete the star. So now that we have that item, we are one step closer to getting ourselves, hold on one second. There we go. Getting ourselves the all the mod star. And I will say that we're kind of nearing the end of like the progression through mods section of the star production, right? And we're about to get into some heavier automation and processes that we're going to need in order to make our life much easier. For example, the only other progression mod that we kind of have to push into is to get the Awakened Supremium ingots. This does require us to do a little bit more of a deep dive into mystical agriculture, sort of the ender game part of this, where we have to take on some withers with a sword with a particular enchant. But most of this stuff is just simply crafting. For example, the Galgadorian drill. This is a rabbit hole of just crafting recipe after crafting recipe. But guess what? I did most of that off camera while I was hanging out on the Discord. So if I search Galg, or I just search Steve's carts, right? Because that's what that's from. You can see that I can craft it. I've already crafted one of them, but yes, every time I craft, look at this rabbit hole of crafting. It is just a lot of random components, and everything just leads up to crafting. So a lot of these things are just crafting, and it's just going to be things that I have to do. Most of our compressed blocks as well are almost done. So dirt and things like that, this is really easy. I just have a bee that is producing the dirt. The netherrack we set up a few episodes ago in Industrial Foregoing, same with an obsidian. Making the diamond, we have so much diamond. It's not a problem. And same with emerald. I have more than enough emerald to complete 18 stars just from our mob farm that had been running over here. And I've also been working on wither skeleton skull production. So I switched this farm to producing wither skeleton skulls, and that's basically it. Because there's some things that are going to cost way more than others. And this is where, like I said, there's just kind of, there's one item that is really, really painful, and that is the 256M portable item cell. It just costs so much to make this. But same with the 64 Nether Star generator. So 64 Nether Star generator, to make 18 of them, we are going to need 7,000 skulls, which of course I have the automation for now. But take a look at these emeralds. Like we have what, 7 times compressed emerald blocks setting in here. So I think we're more than done on the emeralds. That's not even counting the emeralds that are just contained in our storage alone. Now my goal for some of the other blocks like dirt and stuff is to make a infinite cell for them. It makes total sense to make as soon as we get the 6 times, to just simply use it on an infinite cell. Once we have that infinite cell of this, we're going to be totally fine. So just to put it in perspective, I do have one 256. If I request another one, even though we have fast crafting, some things are just still going to take quite a while to craft. And this is where we might have to build up a little bit more infrastructure, especially in our AE side of things when it comes to crafting up these logic circuits. Because as of right now, I think I have 5 machines processing and they're running as fast as they can run. And that's about it. I can't make this go any faster without making more of those same setups. So just something to keep in mind. I am working towards this star that we are going to be getting this bad boy, definitely. And before you know it, we're going to have it. I think there's a lot more bees stuff I'm going to need to do. Like that is going to be definitely on the list. The chain of souls, by the way, all of this stuff we easily can go ahead and make. So not everything is too bad here. The soul lava bee, I've had that running with pokies on it. So I think in here, there's like so many of those stored in here somewhere. We'll be able to find that. If not, I can always pokey them more and just pull them out and make those bee spawn eggs. Like a lot of this stuff is pretty straightforward. Now, the alloy automation, we got to get that started soon. Like all of this and have it just on its own thing, just producing. Like this has to happen very, very soon. And it is going to require some expensive stuff like that 1x compressed nitro block. That's more nether stars. So I don't know what we should do. Actually, you know what? I do know what we should do. That should be an essence craft, right? Because yeah, these can be made with essence. We're still going to need tons of diamonds, or sorry, not diamonds, nether stars. So yeah, there's a lot on my to-do list. But I think what I'm going to do in between episodes is get some of these like mundane parts done. For example, wither arrows. Like how hard is this? Not hard at all. We just need 18 wither arrows. Like this is just potion crafting, right? And then I also need glyphs of wither. Like this is really straightforward. I just have to go to the scribes table and go, hey, I need a couple more of these glyphs and I need 18 of those pulled out. The nether star, the wither souls might be a problem here. And I think I'm going to also make the supremium bee while in between episodes, because the supremium bee seems really easy to make technically as well. It is just the spawn egg. And if we go Supremium B, or sorry, Insanium B is the one that we want. If we take a look at the recipes for this, it's just combining what we already have with a spawn egg and increasing it up and up. And it, even the Awaken Bee seems really easy to get. So yeah, definitely going to be on my list of to-dos. Yeah, the Insanium bees for sure. Yeah, I'm getting that. But yes, like these infinity boosters and things like this, there's just a lot of like random crafts. Like we're going to need 18 of those. Requires a lot of me just making up patterns and making sure everything's in place. I think the main thing that we're going to work on in the next couple of episodes though, is definitely going to be getting our nether star production up and running. We have to do this. And if we do not do it soon, it's going to be a lot of AFK time, honestly, for those to build up. I mean, just in the time since I've set up my nether stars, our one setup has only really produced 195,000 of them. So yes, and I think that going the hostile neural networks route is still going to be one of the fastest ways to do this. And I guess another thing that I can work on is also getting my Hephaestus Forge up high enough that I can make the Stella Bee. So that way our Eterna Stellas are automated. I can easily make Eterna Stellas, but I definitely want the bee. And this just requires an ancient bee to be able to make this. But we do need the top tier forge, and you can see there's a few recipes here. Nothing real difficult here. This is dropped from the Ender Dragon. We have all of the stuff for it. Block of Celerite. We just have to make sure, and I have to grind out all of the resources you see down here, which we have already set up. So it's just going to be a little bit of like repetitive stuff that I've already been working on, but we're getting close. Oh yeah, and by the way, that whole time we've been talking, it's still processing and it's still going to take a minute. So yeah, I hope you learned something new today, and hopefully you have enjoyed this journey thus far. I know that it is a lot of sections where some things may be boring, some things may be super exciting, but that's just kind of the beauty of playing a mod pack that is as big as this. There is a ton of things to look forward to. There's a ton of things to dread. And that's, like I said, just kind of the beauty of the journey. And I hope you've been enjoying this journey so far, as this has got to be one of the biggest mod packs I've played in a very, very long time. And it just seems like the end game of these packs just keep getting longer and longer to complete. So I've been having a blast. I hope you have too. And guys, well, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. So if you haven't already clicked that subscribe button, be sure to click the subscribe button and also give this video a huge thumbs up. And if you have any questions about any kind of mods or any question at all, either join the Discord and you can ask over on the Discord, or you can ask down in the comments section below. I really do appreciate it. And guys, it's now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Doc Shuda. Thank you so much, by the way, for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible. And thanks to all of my supporters, and thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And as always, of course, thanks for watching.